Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm really excited about this one today. Today we're going to be talking about positive energy versus negative energy. I'm a big believer. Energy used as a tool is so important. It gets kind of pushed to the side. It's not all just about pads and techniques and what you're doing physically out there. There's another element that you're not tapping into, and that is your energy and your flow state. Have you ever felt heavy on the ice where your skates feel like lead and you just aren't moving? Most times that's not a fitness problem. That's an energy problem or like an energy leak. Today we're going to get into it. I'm going to tell you my feelings on it, things you can do to help boost that energy and that positive vibe coming out of yourself. But before we get into it, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, like and share this with anyone you think it might help, and let's just get into it. Let's go. First thing I want to talk about regarding positive energy is physiology. It's a it's a huge one, and what I mean by that is your body, your being, your posture. If you can think about it, whenever you are slumped or slouched, and it gives you a low vibe, a low frequency, and you can feel it, and it'll come out in your game or whatever it is you're doing. So physiology is a huge one. Take a deep breath, bring your chest out, stand up straight, smile is a good one. It can change a lot, just like that. I'm a big believer in that. I know for years I've been a big fan of Tony Robbins. I've done his courses, and I did the UPW or whatever it was called, the full weekend. And we may not do things the same or have everything aligned, but one thing that I really loved about how he goes about things is he's big on physiology and how you present, and it can just change everything about how you feel about something, and that leaks out into your performance of whatever it is you're doing. So take a look at yourself, and whenever you're feeling not so great, just think about how you're acting at the moment. Am I like this? Or am I sitting upright? Am I smiling? Am I breathing nice, big, deep breaths and feeling good about myself? Or what's going to happen, like a game, for example, to start the game, can make a huge difference. I used to use this a lot. I didn't have a system in place on purpose. I just kind of knew I had to move forward when things weren't rolling perfectly. And in, I think, a recent video, I talked about the reset, and one of the things I talked about was finding something, doing something physically that reset yourself. This ties in with that. Like if I let in a goal and I would slouch down, or I would stay on the ice longer after a goal and keep my head buried in the ice. That doesn't present well, not only for yourself, but for your teammates and people watching. That's a whole different topic. But just yourself, getting up and getting ready for the puck drop, what's going to come next is not usually great if your physiology isn't good. So I used to do things in particular, that kind of reset me, but also physically made me feel a little more empowered and ready to take on what's coming next. Like sometimes when I was younger, I didn't do it in such a positive manner. I used to yell in my mask and myself, like, let's go. It was a motivation, but I did have that physiology, like I was getting ready. I think there's a healthier way. And that's what I'm trying to encourage now. But definitely take a look at yourself and how you are in these situations. One other thing I used to do, uh, I only did this in my own zone face-offs, but I did this for so long that I didn't even know I did it. Because when they're in the zone, you want to get dialed and ready. And I used to do this thing with my hands and my stick, and then it's hard for me to even do it. I think I have the video of it. Some fans sent it to me because they were remembering the good old days when they would watch me play. And I did this thing, and kids would imitate it. And I would smack my pad. No, I would hit my hands together and then smack my pad. If I can find the video, I'll put it up here so you can see it. But it was something that totally changed my physiology and got me ready for the play coming up in my zone. And it just became a way of being after a while that, like I said, as you can see, I have trouble remembering how I did it. But I guarantee if I stepped on the ice today, I would be able to do it like that. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. And I'm hoping that you can really check in on your physiology and how you're being. And I think it will really help. The next thing I want to touch on is self talk, meaning the stuff that you're saying to yourself in your head. And I talk about this all the time. I've probably talked about it in other videos because it ties into so many different things that I talk about. But self talk is massive when we're talking about changing our energy vibe and our flow. When you're saying negative things to yourself, it can be so damaging. And it spirals, like one bad thing leads to another, and then your mind, just by human nature, just keeps repeating and adding and adding, and it just snowballs into you feeling awful about yourself. And then hence the physiology changes. So take a good hard look at the things that you say to yourself, and are they negative? Are they positive? For example, if you just let in a goal, the first thing that comes into your head is, I can't believe I let that in. Definitely not the right thing to be saying to yourself. To, I'm going to get the next one. Or the next one, I'm going to play it like this. It takes away that negative energy that you're adding to yourself over and over if you're using negative self-talk. This one is so important, and it especially, well, with players, goalies, everyone, people outside of sports, everyone. We are our own worst critics, man, and it can be so damaging. But especially in the goalie world, when we're on that island all by ourselves and we have that mask on and we're talking to ourselves, sometimes out loud, it's still in by yourself because no one can see you talking. But I know people that I work with that are really honest with me and tell me some of the things that they say to themselves. And I'm like, man, you're walking such an uphill battle by doing that. So I really work hard on changing how we speak to ourselves and the things we think. So take a good hard long look at the types of things you say to yourself. And if you can switch that around and be more positive, it'll make a huge difference. The last thing I want to talk about is how energy is like really contagious, man. And this works into being a team player. And you working on yourself can be helpful in being a good leader, leading by example. You don't have to be, hooting and hollering and yelling to be a good team leader. But people can see your physiology, how you speak, and the words you choose, and all of these things combined equals a good leader, someone that they can look up to. And just sometimes your being, it might sound a little zen, but I do believe when you posture and up and are very positive minded and a joy to be around, that exudes, and that it's contagious. Like I said, it is so helpful to the room. And you working on yourself, indirectly will help your team because you'll be a better person, a better flow of energy in that locker room. So do this for yourself. Try to shift and be more positive and in all these ways I'm talking about. And in turn, it'll help the team out. It'll help whoever is around you. Even this is outside of sport. You know, you're in the workforce. If you're working and you've ever worked with someone that is just a joy to be around, and you're grumpy, you're going for another day of work, and then you see this person and it changes you. That's what I'm talking about. So really work on this one. In closing, I just want to say positivity is not fake, it's genuine. It's a choice to focus on what is possible and not what is wrong. So I just want you all to take this week and try to have a positivity shift, really work on your physiology, try some of these things. And I'd love to know in the comments on if it worked, if you had a bit of a better day, a better week. Other than that, man, that's all I got for you. You guys all have a good one. We'll talk to you next week. I'll post another one on Thursday. And you have a good one. Peace.